You have made an unwise decision.
Blood Queen Lana'thel is the final boss in the Bloodwing. She has two main mechanics in her encounter, and she's a straightforward DPS check fight, which is almost the same with the DPS encounter. First is the Blood Mirror. A link, which is marked with a red line, is being made between BQL's target and the next player closest to the target. The link player will share damage with BQL's target, which is the main tank. Her second mechanic is Vampiric Bite. After a few seconds at the start of the encounter, BQL will bite the highest threat DPS in the raid, granting him a debuff called Essence of the Blood Queen, giving him damage increase, lifesteal, and no threat generation. However, after 60 seconds, the player will have a Frenzied Bloodthirst debuff for 10 seconds, which removes all his ability except for Vampiric Bite, and he needs to use it to any players, preferably the top DPS, who doesn't have the Essence of the Blood Queen debuff, to reset the debuff back to 60 seconds. If the player with the debuff fails to bite another player within 10 seconds, he will become permanently mind controlled throughout the fight. This mechanic will continue until the boss is dead. In heroic mode, BQL's ability called Shroud of Sorrow, which deals shadow damage every 3 seconds, will increase its damage dealt for every player with the Essence debuff. This fight also has two phases, namely a ground and an air phase. During her ground phase, there are 3 abilities to watch out. First is the Pack of the Darkfallen. 3 players will be targeted and they will have a red line between them, dealing damage to all players close to them. The players need to link with each other to remove the debuff immediately. The key here is that players with a debuff should stop casting or DPS immediately to avoid wiping the raid. Paladins are crucial in this mechanic because they can mitigate the damage by using Shadow Aura Mastery and Divine Sacrifice. Her second ability is Swarming Shadows. It is a debuff that deals shadow damage over time and leaves a trail of purple flame on the floor until the debuff runs out. The tactics here is that all the players should stay either left or on the right side of the room, and when you get the debuff, you need to run towards the wall on which side you are and goes toward to the back of the room until the debuff expires. Some abilities can ignore this mechanic such as Anti-Magic Shell, Cloak of Shadows, and Ice Block. Her third ability is Twilight Bald. The boss hurls a dark blood that deals damage to the targets and to its allies within 6 yards. Ranged DPS and healers should spread at the back of the room. Before we enter the air phase, the boss will run towards the center of the room and cast Insight Terror, which fears all players for 4 seconds. During this part, Shamans should use Tremor Totem, Priests should Fear Ward themselves and use Mass Dispel to everyone else after, and Warriors and Feral Druids need to use Berserker Rage, just to avoid players running from fear going to the fire from Swarming Shadows. Once the boss is in the air, she will cast Blood Bolt Whirl 3 times for 6 seconds, which deals damage to the entire raid and additional for those who are not spread far enough. During the fight, she enters 2 air phases before she hits the enrage timer. So, during the first air phase, only 1 druid will use Tranquility or 1 priest with Divine Hymn. And during the second phase, all players with available Tranquility and Divine Hymn should be used, while others can use their defensive cooldowns to mitigate the damage. Overall, the fight is a DPS race, but it breaks down to not failing the 3 major mechanics. First is the Vampiric Bite, Pack of the Darkfallen, and Swarming Shadows.
Hilap, huwag kayo mamatay, please. Bite anyone.
Patayin nyo na to. Spread out. Mag-spread pa rin kayo.
Hilap.
Spread out. Come on. Manatide.
Bisa ko na lang tong ano.
Yung Divine Him na Divine Him. Exils. Divine Him.
Na lang to.
Mag-remove sa link.
Link lang. Come on. Link lang. Boss lang. Patayin na to. Ang ina mo, Blood Queen!
But we were all getting
Oy,
along.
next turn is like